They saw something in the dark. A strange signal, soft, quiet, and unknown. It came from the edge of the galaxy, a place where no one lived, where no one had gone for 1,000 years. The signal didn't match any known language or race. It was not a cry for help, not a threat, not even noise. Just strange. The High Council met in silence. Alien leaders from 10 different worlds looked at the data. Their computers searched every database in their empire. Nothing came up. No match. No record, not even a trace of something similar. One old voice spoke up. Grand Elder Virun, a quiet and forgotten figure who had seen too many wars, leaned forward and said, "Sometimes, what is missing from your records is more dangerous than what is in them." The room stayed quiet. No one listened. The young commanders laughed. "It's probably an old satellite or a dead probe. Let's send a scout fleet and check." And so, they did. 5 warships, the best their star navy could offer, full power, full weapons, thousands of trained crew. They moved fast toward the dark part of space where the signal was coming from. The command ship, the Vexilon, led the way. Everything looked fine. Space was empty. The signal stayed steady. Then, one ship disappeared. No alarm, no warning. One moment, it was there. And the next, it wasn't. The Vexilon tried to reach the lost ship. No response, not even a ping. No wreckage. No escape pods, nothing. Captain Euler stood frozen. "Is it a black hole?" he asked. "No," the science officer said. "Our systems would detect gravitational pull. There's nothing there." "But something took the ship," the captain said. Silence. "They sent out probes. The probes came back. They showed only darkness. Still, the signal continued. Same strength, same tone, same pattern. Almost like it didn't care." The next day, a second ship vanished. This time, it happened while the crew was watching. A strange wave of light passed through space. Blue, silent, and cold. The ship's lights flickered. The hull began to bend. Then, in 1 second, it collapsed into itself and was gone. No explosion, no radiation, just gone. Panic spread across the fleet. The captain ordered all ships to move away. They turned their engines and ran. But the signal followed. It grew louder, stronger, not from behind, but from all around. It was never coming from one place. It was everywhere. A young crew member whispered, "Sir, I think it's alive." Captain Euler's heart sank. "What do you mean?" "I don't know," the young man said, "but I think it's not a thing. I think it's something watching us." The captain didn't want to believe it, but in the dark, he saw something on the screen, a shadow, far away, moving slowly. It didn't have shape, no engines, no lights, just black. They tried to scan it. The computers failed. "Unknown error," the screen said. "Object not found." But it was there. The captain gave the order. "Send a message to the High Council. Tell them, we found something we don't understand." They sent the message, but no one answered. They tried again, nothing. All channels were dead. The science officer looked pale. "Sir, something is blocking all communication." Then, a whisper came through the signal. Not a voice, not words, just breathing. Cold, slow breathing. It wasn't asking for help. It wasn't calling for war. It was just waiting. Annette had waited a long time. Captain Euler finally understood. The old elder was right. Sometimes what your records don't show is the one thing that can end you in that moment. The captain realized something terrible. This wasn't the start of something. It was the return of something they tried to forget. And now, it was awake, watching, listening, and it was not alone. Darkness floated in space where the first ship had vanished. No wreckage, no sound, no trace. Just empty silence, like it was never there. The other ships in the fleet circled slowly, scanners spinning, systems alert, crew on edge. Everyone hoped it was a mistake, a glitch, a malfunction, anything. But deep inside, they all felt the same chill. Something was very wrong. The second ship had disappeared in front of them, and no one could explain how. No enemy was seen. No weapon had fired. One moment it was part of the formation. The next, it folded in on itself like a shadow in sunlight. And then, it was gone. Commander Rain aboard the third ship tried to stay calm. His fingers tapped the control panel nervously. "Pull all ships into tight formation," he said. "Activate short-range sensors. We don't trust long-range data anymore." The crew followed orders. Lights dimmed. Shields came online. Everyone whispered now. The usual hum of machines felt too loud. Every sound echoed. Some crew wore pressure suits. Others gripped their seats as if something might reach through the walls. Then something new happened. The fleet's AI network began to fail one ship at a time. Not all at once, but slowly, like a candle being blown out room by room. First the navigation systems glitched. Then communication between the ships became scrambled. Simple words got lost in static. A message that said, "Are you receiving this?" returned as you are. "This number?" One understood. Not even the engineers. The systems were not being attacked. They were just confused. As if something was speaking in a language too deep, too old, too strange for machines to understand. A technician said quietly, "It's like the computers are dreaming." That night, the fleet stayed still. No one slept. The stars outside looked the same, but the air inside the ships felt different, colder, heavy. The crew started hearing things: soft knocks, whispers in the walls, echoes of words never spoken, but sensors picked up nothing. One crew member whispered to his friend, "I don't think we're alone," but his friend didn't reply. He was staring at something only he could see, something outside the ship, drifting, staring back. Then it happened again. A third ship blinked out. This time, it left behind something smaller, single escape pod floating in silence. The fleet rushed toward it. They brought it aboard. Careful, cautious. Inside, a lone officer sat frozen, eyes open, lips moving without sound. They scanned him. No wounds, no damage. But he wasn't there. His body was fine. His mind was gone. The medic said, "There's no brain activity, but his heart is still beating." The officer's hands moved slowly, tracing symbols in the air shapes no one recognized. Over and over, like he was remembering something that no longer existed. They searched the pod's data. Only one thing was recorded: a strange pattern of sound. Not music, not words. Just low, humming tones, repeating, layered like the sound of a storm beneath the ocean. And in the final moment, before silence, the log showed one sentence typed into the system: "It sees us now." Back on the command ship, the captain tried to send a message home again. Still nothing. All channels were blocked. They tried long range. They even launched a signal probe. The probe didn't return. "Maybe we should go back," someone said. "No," the captain replied, staring at the data. "If we leave now, we bring it with us. We don't know what it is. We don't even know where it came from." A younger officer spoke. "What if it was always here, just waiting for someone to find it?" The captain looked at the stars. They had searched every database before the mission. They knew every ship, every known threat, every piece of data from 1,000 years of space travel. But whatever this was, it wasn't in the files, it wasn't on the charts, it wasn't in any system, and now, it was inside their fleet. Not attacking, not chasing, just being there, like a quiet observer, waiting for something only. It understood. The fleet drifted slowly through space, trying to stay close, trying to stay calm. But in every ship, in every corridor, the same thought whispered louder and louder. They were not alone anymore. Asterisk. The silence was starting to feel heavier than the darkness of space. After the third ship disappeared and the escape pod was recovered, fear no longer whispered. It screamed quietly inside every crew member's chest. The officers aboard the command ship gathered again, trying to understand what they were facing. The situation was clear. It wasn't a malfunction, it wasn't a natural event, and it wasn't anything they could see, hear, or fight. The captain stood quietly, staring at the final message retrieved from the pod. "It sees us now." That one sentence made something shift. A new kind of worry spread, not fear of death, but fear of something worse. The unknown. The kind of unknown that doesn't fit into any system, category, or plan. They had no answers. The alien database, the most complete knowledge archive in the known galaxy, had failed them. So the captain gave a new order, one that shocked the room. "Search the human records." The room went silent. "Captain," said the communications officer, "you mean the forbidden records?" "Yes," the captain replied. "We need to know what we missed. Search everything, unrestricted." They accessed the hidden vault deep archives not meant for daily use. These were locked files, only allowed by High Council approval. Many of them were corrupted, redacted, or sealed behind authority levels that no longer existed. Still, they searched. Nothing. The name humanity appeared in some old reports, but the files were missing details. Some were just blank pages, others had only warnings. One file said, "Do not engage." Another read, "Unstable species. Avoid contact. If detected, withdraw." And then, one file showed something stranger. A map, one quadrant of space circled in red. That part of the galaxy was marked with a single word: erased. The science officer frowned. "That system? That's where we are now." A quiet gasp filled the room. "Wait," someone said. "You're telling me this zone was once recorded, but they deleted it?" The captain nodded slowly. "Someone didn't want us to know." The files revealed no reason, no record of war, no battles, no dates, just silence. As if the people who knew the truth were either gone, or made to forget. One file stood out. It had no name, only a number X-0-17. They opened it. There was a short entry, a single paragraph. "Their minds are not like ours. Their silence is not peace. Their patience is not weakness. If they return, no system will warn you. No data will help you. You will only realize what they are when it is already too late." The crew stared at the screen. No one spoke. Finally, the youngest crew member whispered, "What happened to Earth?" The science officer replied, "There's no planet by that name anymore. It was removed from the star charts centuries ago." "But who removed it?" the captain asked. That was the question no one could answer. The fleet had always believed in facts, records, and technology. But now, all of that had failed them. They had crossed into a part of space where even memory seemed erased, and yet something remembered them. The captain gave a quiet order. Begin internal checks. Make sure nothing has entered our systems. The engineers scanned every circuit, every transmission, every signal pulse. They found nothing. But then, something strange appeared in the medical bay. One of the crew members had been quietly drawing on his console with his finger, not realizing he was doing it. Over and over, in a loop, the symbol was simple. 3 circles and a broken line through the center. They scanned the pattern. No match in alien language banks. No translation. But the same symbol appeared in the ancient file labeled X0217. Exactly the same. A medical officer asked the crew member what it meant. He didn't respond. He just looked ahead and said softly, "I saw it in my dream. A sky of ash. A voice with no sound. It looked at me. And I remembered something I never knew." Later, that day, more crew started seeing the symbol, not drawn, not imagined, but showing up in the ship's code, not inserted, appearing inside communication logs, inside navigation lines, even in the food dispensers. A message not to frighten, not to warn, just to be seen. And every time the symbol appeared, someone else in the crew whispered the same sentence. "It's not new, it's old. We're just the first to come back." That night, the stars outside the window blinked, not flickered, blinked as if something had passed between them and the fleet. The captain stood alone on the observation deck, remembering the warning in the file. No system will warn you. No data will help you. You will only realize what they are when it is already too late. And now, for the first time, he wondered maybe the signal wasn't sent to them. Maybe it was sent through them, like a message meant for something older, something hiding just behind the walls of their understanding. And now that it had seen them, it wouldn't forget. Asterisk, a quiet alarm echoed through the command ship's lower decks. Not the loud, urgent kind used in emergencies. This one was soft, almost gentle, like a whisper. It was the kind of alert the system used for non-life-threatening anomalies. Minor signals, static noise, things no one paid attention to, except, this time, it wasn't noise. A ship had appeared, not on sensors, not on long-range scans. It was just there, floating. The crew stared at the view screen in silence. The object wasn't moving. It wasn't sending signals. It just hovered at the edge of the fleet's path, dark and slow, like a forgotten piece of space junk. But its design was unmistakable. No lights, no markings, no color. Just black metal and long silent panels that extended like broken wings. The front of the ship carried a single word, burned into the hull with age:"Earth." The science officer's voice broke the silence. "This FIM ship design is ancient, very old, maybe even pre-warp era. But how is it here?" the captain asked. "That class of ship was retired over 2,000 years ago." No one could answer. The command ship sent a cautious scan. The readings came back broken, incomplete. The ship had no active life signs, no heat, no energy signature. But it wasn't entirely dead either. Something inside was keeping it stable, and it had made no move since appearing. The captain gave a slow nod. "We'll bring it in." Carefully. The recovery crew moved forward, attaching magnetic lines and pulling the old ship into the hangar bay. As it landed, the floor beneath their feet vibrated softly, not from the engines but something else. A slow hum, deep, low, steady, almost like breathing. They opened the outer hull. Inside was darkness, no lights, no sound. They stepped into the hallway and turned on their suits. Beams dust floated in the air. The walls were lined with faded screens and ancient controls. Everything was off, frozen in time. Then they found the crew, not alive, but not gone either. Dozens of bodies sat quietly in their seats, still strapped in, eyes open. They weren't rotten. They weren't frozen, just still, as if something had pressed pause on their lives. And they never moved again. One crew member whispered, "They're not damaged, but they're not sleeping either." The medical scanner showed no heartbeat, no brain function. But the strange thing was, their cells were still alive. Time hadn't touched them. In the center of the ship was a large chamber with a black cube. Placed on a pedestal, the cube pulsed with soft blue light. Not mechanical light, but something deeper, almost organic. When the lead technician stepped closer, the cube suddenly blinked, and the ship powered on. Every screen lit up. Every console turned green. And the ship's AI activated. A voice spoke. Calm and cold. "Observation complete. Recording ends now." The crew froze. "Who are you?" Someone asked. "Don't know." Reply. "Where did this ship come from?" Silence again. The captain tried to override the AI, but it locked out their access. Then the lights flickered, and a new message appeared on every screen. "You should have left us alone." Outside the ship, in space, the signal that had followed them changed tone. It was no longer quiet. It grew deeper, richer, layered with sound that wasn't sound waves of emotion, memory, presence. It didn't feel like communication, it felt like recognition. The symbol they'd seen before, 3 circles and a broken line, flashed across every screen. Inside the old Earth ship, the cube began to rotate slowly. It hovered off the pedestal and projected a hologram into the air. A map, a star map, but it wasn't a map of where the fleet was. It was a map of where they had come from. Their home worlds, their cities, their entire network. Marked, watched, remembered. The cube pulsed again, and then something strange happened. The AI spoke a second time. Your silence taught us patience. Your absence taught us memory. Your return teaches us choice. And then, everything turned off. The cube stopped glowing. The ship powered down. The crew returned to the command ship with the data they had gathered, but none of it made sense. Nothing could explain what they saw. A ship from Earth, older than anyone alive, filled with frozen life, and a living machine that remembered them all. The captain gave orders to scan every corner of the sector. No other ships were found, but the signal continued. Not calling for help. Not warning of danger. Just being there waiting. One officer said quietly. Maybe that wasn't a ship. Maybe it was a message. The captain agreed. Not for us, but for whatever sent it. That night, the fleet locked down all systems, engines cooled, lights dimmed, and the cube, now silent and dark, was locked deep within a sealed vault. But in the morning, when the ship's logs were checked, one entry had been added without access. One vessel observed. Fleet contact recorded. Phase 1 complete. Number? One remembered writing it. No system logged the change. It was just there. As if the message had never been meant for the living at all but for something older, deeper, and now fully awake. Asterisk, a cold wind passed through the halls of the command ship. Not real wind, but something that felt just as chilling. Ever since the old Earth vessel had been discovered and powered down, strange things began to happen. Lights flickered for no reason. Crew members reported soft echoes in rooms with no one inside. The ship's clocks lost a few seconds each day, then caught up without explanation. But the strangest change was this. The crew had stopped dreaming. No one said it at first. No one wanted to admit it, but soon, whispers spread. Officers, engineers, even medical staff, they all said the same thing. I close my eyes, and there's nothing. Just black. No time, no thought. That silence in sleep was more terrifying than the unknown outside. The captain requested a secure communication to the High Council again. A direct quantum burst through private channels. Still no answer, but this time, something replied. Not the council. A single voice transmission. No ID tag, no signal trace, just a voice. Old, rough, tired. You should not be there. You were never meant to find it. The crew stared at the audio file. It ended there. No source, no signature, but the voice felt familiar. Someone in the back whispered, that sounds like General Olan. Yeah, it was a name few remembered. General Olan once, a leader of the Outer Systems fleet, thought to be lost decades ago. During a mysterious disappearance near the galactic edge, they checked the records. His files were sealed, classified by the highest level, but after hours of bypassing systems, one hidden file opened a personal log from Olan himself. The message was short and shaky. If anyone finds this, listen carefully. There was a mistake. We found something we were told not to find. We tried to remove it from the records. We erased a star system. We thought silence would protect us, but silence only taught them how to listen. More files appeared, each more broken than the last. Fragments of history, notes, orders, and one central truth began to rise. Long ago, the Council had discovered early human expansion. Earth had begun sending deep space missions before most other species had even left their planets. At first, the Council watched, observed. Then, they grew concerned. Humanity evolved, quickly, too quickly. Their science advanced faster than anyone expected. Their technology leaped across generations. But it wasn't just their speed that frightened the Council. It was their unpredictability, their strange connection to memory, to emotion, to persistence. So a decision was made quietly, without vote. Secret operation erased Earth's name from the star charts. Destroyed communications, leading to their system. End. When Earth stopped sending signals, no one responded. Time moved on. Other empires rose. Records shifted. New alliances were built. And the past, like the planet called Earth, faded. But now it was back. Not in force, not in fire. In silence, a return not with warships, but with memory. The captain of the current fleet stood in the ship's archive room, reading the final hidden file from the old operation. We buried the truth under silence. We thought they would vanish, but some truths wait, and some memories return stronger than history. Then came the moment no one expected. The cube from the ancient Earth ship, sealed, inactive, began to glow again. Not blue this time. Red. A soft pulse. Not threatening, just present. A simple image appeared on the display beside it. An old photograph. It showed human explorers standing on a dusty moon, holding a flag with Earth's symbol. Behind them was something more important, an alien figure, one of the first council members. Smiling, standing beside the humans, like an ally. The truth hit them all at once. Humanity hadn't been erased because of danger. They were erased because of regret, because the council had once worked with them, and then feared what they were becoming. The photo faded, and a new message appeared. We remembered. Even when you tried to forget, from that moment on, nothing in the ship felt the same. It wasn't haunted, it wasn't broken, it was being watched, and not with anger, with understanding. Humanity hadn't returned with weapons. They had returned with their past, and for those who erased them, that past was the one thing they could never fight. The ship's timekeeper stopped working at exactly 0 o'clock. Every system was still functioning, every tool was in place. Yet the official fleet clock synced to the galactic standards froze. It didn't crash, it didn't reset, it just paused. As if time inside the ship had chosen to hold its breath. At first no one noticed. But then, something else happened. The signal they had been tracking, the one that led them into this unknown region of space, disappeared. Not faded, not moved. It vanished completely. Like a light being turned off in a sealed room. The crew stared at their monitors in disbelief. It's gone. The communications officer whispered, "There's nothing out there." But everyone could feel it. Something was still there, watching, waiting. The silence wasn't peaceful. Now it felt active. Like something listening very closely, yet never showing its face. All the logs they'd uncovered about humanity, about their forced erasure from the galactic record, pointed to one thing. They were never truly gone. They were remembering. And now, they had arrived. But not with anger. Not with war. Something else far more unsettling. Choice.A. Young engineer reported a strange occurrence. The cube from the ancient Earth ship was now displaying maps of alien homeworlds across the galaxy. Not attack plans, just outlines. Names, climate data. A memory of places, as if the humans were showing how much they knew. How much they remembered. Each star system was marked, not by threat, but by a simple note. Observed, it was as if they had been studying everyone for years, in silence, from the shadows of forgotten systems, not interfering, just learning. The captain gathered his crew for what would be their final meeting aboard the command ship. He stood in front of them, weary but focused. "We came here to investigate a signal," he began. "We thought it was a mistake. We thought we were the most advanced fleet in the quadrant. We relied on our records, our data, our charts, and we never asked ourselves what was missing." A pause. "We were taught that Earth was a myth, that humans were unstable, dangerous, so we buried them." He looked out the wide window at the empty stars. "But what we buried didn't die. It listened. It remembered. And now, it wants us to remember too." Suddenly, all lights across the fleet dimmed at once, not completely off, just low enough to feel wrong. The stars outside flickered. Then, every ship received a message, not through the regular communication network, not through sound, but directly into the internal system of each ship. A single sentence displayed in hundreds of languages. "The memory of what you did remains. What you become next is your choice." There was no countdown, no warning, no threat, just that message. Then the cube powered down for the last time, and all systems across the fleet went offline. Every console, every screen, every sensor. The fleet drifted in complete silence, running only on emergency backups. They couldn't move, couldn't scan, couldn't speak to each other, but none of them felt alone. Each crew member on every ship reported seeing something outside their window, a faint shape, a ripple in the stars. Some saw nothing. Others saw the silhouette of a vessel, massive and still. Some described it as beautiful. Others said it looked sad. And then, one last transmission played across the fleet, this time in a voice none of them recognized. It was neither human nor alien. It felt like a voice that had lived through time itself. "We do not erase. We remember. When you forgot us, we remembered you. When you hid the truth, we carried it. When you erased our name, we wrote yours into our skies. This is not judgment. This is not revenge. This is memory." The stars outside brightened once more. Powell returned to the ship's systems. Came back online, but something had changed. The signal was truly gone now. The cube had turned to ash. And every crew member remembered everything, not just the mission, not just the fear, but stories, images of things they had never seen. As if ancient memories had been placed inside them, silently, without force. As if someone had given them back a piece of a forgotten history. Back on the homeworlds, news began to spread. The fleet had returned. No shots fired, no enemies found. But the captains, once proud and bold, now spoke with quiet voices. They didn't bring back battle reports, they brought back names, stories, memories of a species erased. From the record but not from time. A message was sent to every council across the galaxy. We didn't find a threat. We found a mirror, and what we saw was ourselves. And far beyond the edge of known space, where stars shine a little colder. Something turned away, not with anger, but with understanding, because it had waited long enough. And now, it knew. They remembered.